You've been pretty passionate about this Colin Kaepernick situation.
Yes.
What are your thoughts?
I think that the Colin Kaepernick situation is a mask for just complete racism. I think that it's, you know, if Colin Kaepernick and the NFL players were kneeling for homelessness in this country, or Colin Kaepernick and the NFL players were kneeling for the lack of funding in public schools in this country, it would be totally supported. And because it's not, you know, it's like this excuse to sort of articulate your racism. We don't like this. It's the flag. No, it isn't. You don't like why they're kneeling. That's the issue. Because if we were kneeling for the amount of stray dogs in the country, everybody'd be like, what a great cause. So that's the thing that's really, in my opinion, despicable about the pushback from it, if you ask me.
So buy Nike is what you're saying.
I'm not saying buy Nike. You know, buy Nike, whatever. It's not about Nike. It's you know, I mean, it's not about buy Nike or pro Nike against Nike. It's like, you know, these people, these players, these guys, you know, have been sort of ostracized. Kaepernick and another player, Eric Reed, who was in the prime of his career, he's 26 years old, top 15 in his position, is not playing in the NFL. It's crazy. It's crazy when you think about that. I mean, they're both. There's no excuse why they shouldn't be playing football. And like, some people look at him as a hero, and some people look at him as a villain for what? Villain for what? It's crazy.
I had Omar Epps in here recently.
Yep.
You starred with him in Higher Learning.
Yep.
That movie, I look back on that movie and I'm like, talk about hitting on relevant topics that are still relevant today. America's not changing. What's going on? How do we get this place to change?
I don't know, man. The country, it seems like we're like in a sort of a self-recovery, and it's like, you know, 2 steps forward, 3 steps back, 1 step forward, 2 steps back, 5 steps forward, you know, and I think that where we are, there's going to be an overall change, but I think, you know, we just have to stay resilient and stay as positive as we can, and man, you know, vote. You have to vote. You know, it sounds like a cliche, but you have to vote. If you don't vote, you shouldn't tweet, you shouldn't Instagram, you shouldn't complain, you shouldn't anything. Like, if you don't vote, number one, there's no rallies, there's no anything. That's number one. You know, I've always been opinionated, and for me, when I take a strong opinion on something, I'm always thinking, why isn't everyone else doing it? You know, like when it's really something, whether it's the Kaepernick stuff or it's politics or whatever, like when it's something that's really like just frustrating, like I'm always like, why do I feel like I'm the only one saying something?
Especially your comments on Eminem and Machine Gun Kelly, which I loved.
Yeah.
Hip hop is dead.
Yeah, hip hop is dead. But I think it's, you know, I think that, you know, in hindsight, I think it's been a good year for hip hop. I think that, you know, the fact that Eminem put that record out and it had such people had such opinions about it, I think was really good. I respect that this kid Kelly said something. I think other people, you know, they were commenting, talking about Eminem's last record, and then he came back in the language of rap, and no one else is saying anything. So, you know, like if you're speaking to me in Japanese, I need to respond to you back in Japanese, right? 'Cause that's your language. Right. He's coming in rap, like, so don't tweet about it, don't Instagram about it, don't YouTube about it. Like, you got to put a song out. Otherwise, your opinion, it's like it's not valid. So it's been a good year, I think, in hip hop, and I don't think hip hop is dead. I think that it's changed. It's continuing to find itself, and I just hope and wish there continues to be a balance of. It's always going to be a young man's sport. It was made by teenagers. It's a rebellious music. It's a party music. So it's always going to be, you know, late teens, early 20s are going to be the sort of focal point, the epicenter of hip hop. But because there's so many talented people that have been around that are still relevant, I think it's good to have that balance.
How crazy is it to be in a video game? You just got into NBA 2K9.
thought about acting. Like I grew up loving basketball.
LeBron James right now is producing every freaking project in Hollywood. What do you think it is? Why are we seeing this incredible intersection between sports and entertainment? It used to be two different worlds.
Yeah.
Now it is literally one highway.
Well, I think it's because, you know, sports fans love the entertainment business and vice versa. You know, it's sort of been, you know, growing throughout the years. You have rappers, Jay-Z, you know, he's in, you know, films, he's producing this, and, you know, and it's sort of been across, you know, for the last few years. And I think right now with LeBron being so passionate about it, it's a culmination. And then, like, you know, it's sort of an intersection of like fashion and culture and music. It's all sort of melded together because the musicians love the athletes love the musicians, and you know, the athletes now, you know, they grow up, you know, saying I can do more than just play ball. So when I get these opportunities, I'll produce a show or produce a movie. So it's cool.